Hello, it's Trekker Joe, and I have a lot to do. Uh, just going to show I cleared out a bunch of missions, and I took this one. And those missions should play any second now. I'm going to montage it. Okay, so doing something slightly different here. I'm recording post here. Anyway, here I am right now, flying my aircraft in order to, test a couple of parachutes at specific altitudes. So I've already tested the first one, so now we just need to get to 700 meters and reach the speed that we need in order to actually test the second one. There we go. Parachute deployed, test complete. This is a high G adventure. That moment made me panic. So now what I'm doing is getting a craft into orbit for a tourist mission. Yep, now returning. That way I can actually receive the contract. One thing you'll notice me doing here is I actually come in a little steep and I have to like burn the engine periodically in order to keep it from hitting that overheat threshold. And now that I'm here, I'm just going to slow down full force because I basically managed to land right on top of it. Have to extend the antenna there. Now this mission's kind of interesting. I have a contract to test an out-of-date decoupler, so I had to go into the menu and find the different manufacturers, and under there it would be right there. Thankfully, I'm glad it doesn't hide it, because otherwise this contract would have been impossible. Anyway, the entire point of this mission is to haul it into an orbit, well, not even an orbit, but like an ejection maneuver. So what I'm going for is going to be a free return orbit, which is, you'll see me doing that shortly. Anyway, I had managed to make it to the moon, so now the only thing left to do is actually re-enter. So we had to turn that up in order to actually be able to have an effect. We're coming in pretty closely. I neglected the antennas. Also, I had to ditch that separated stage. So now, we're pretty much done. There's only one thing left to do now. safe landing, and now for the final act. Gather science data. Ooh, how impressive. Okay, so yeah, I got a lot done. So now, I do have a bunch of people to rescue in orbit of the moon and Urban, and I can probably send a Mario to do that. But for the moon, I'm not sure. We, however, have our eyes set on Minmus because I'm going to want to send a satellite into a polar orbit. In addition to this, I need a probe that's capable of operating on Minmus by itself independently, which means I need to create a lander type probe in order for me to take temperature readings from. I can send a specially made craft in order to perform these maneuvers. And it doesn't even have to be that big. It can be like a really tiny craft. But I'll probably give it a ton of fuel, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. I actually want Kerbals on the surface. I want to actually land and take surface samples. So I'm going to be bringing a pilot and a scientist, I think. Mission to do Minmus things. So my intention is to do 3 missions here. That's why the rocket's kind of weird looking. I have the main lander in the top stage, and this thing is just Please deselect. It's not going to let me deselect it. Okay, so we have the top stage here. This contains a lander for Minmus that I'm going to send around, and it'll be the mission that I'll be milking the science with. Then I have this lander, which is going to be a semi-permanent, if not completely permanent, addition to Minmus. And in addition to this, I have a satellite which I intend to place into a polar orbit. And so what I'm probably going to do is early on, I'm going to launch this, deploy this separately. And hopefully that works out. Anyway, this should allow me all the freedom I need to get to Minmus, but I don't know if I have enough fuel to actually return. That's why there are these extra tanks. But yeah, so the biggest concerns here is mostly fuel. And I'm probably going to wind up with debris in orbit if I miscalculated. Which I hopefully haven't. We have Jebediah and Bob. I thought about bringing Orny, but he's not really that needed. Turn the lights on since this is getting dark. And let's get going. I gotta lower my acceleration just a little bit, because I shouldn't be going this fast. It's wasting fuel. But now I should be increasing my speed. I want to be going about 60 by the time I hit 90. I don't know, I've noticed a lot of people do this differently. Maybe, like, I know at one point I used to just go straight up and then start the turn, but now I just start it early and then I use the angle of the turn. Also, I think that's good. We'll keep it like this. Problem is this thing's going to be absorbing all the heat, so I want to be extremely careful of that. Anyway, I guess I'm going to do this early. 9. Because that's going to happen. And I have no idea how this will go. Also, do this. And I knew it. I knew it. There we go. That should be really good. Also, it's really cool to look at this and see how like the signal is being routed around the planet because I can't get a direct comm line. First thing I think I want to do is I want to decouple my satellite here. Okay. Deploy my communications equipment and solar panels, that way I can get a taste of electric charge. There we go. Okay, I made a mistake here. This is going to be orbital debris if I don't do it like this. I need to have this, put this in an orbit that's going to decay in order for it to work. So, yeah. So it is working for exactly what I wanted it to do. So there's that. And I love the fact that I figured out how to maximize my payloads. So can I see this stage view? Nope. That's annoying. What a bother. Anyway, I'm going to have it crash into the planet. And then what I'm going to do is when I deploy, it's going to be facing retrograde, so when I launch the satellites, it should boost them just above, I think. So like that. What's my orbit looking like? Okay. I'm going to have to swap to this. Hopefully I don't damage my solar panels on the way out. That's something I gotta be super wary of. What I'm thinking is, okay, let me just do this. Okay. Oh, that was enough. Okay. Do the same maneuver. There we go. And this should be acceptable. So now, what I want, I think, is I'm going to land the Minmus Explorer. I can see a sea coming up. And so my plan is to just kind of have this thing landed. Thankfully, we're dealing with pretty low speed maneuvers, so doing it like this should be okay. Then we just warp here. So we're over the sea now. And now this is where things get interesting. super slow. I want it to slow to about 2 by the time we hit the ground. The heck? I panicked there, but evidently our landing gear just kind of disappeared. That isn't right. So what happened to the landing gear? They just kind of like, I don't know, like they came off. Do I F9? Nah. This is going to possibly prevent future landings. But yeah, I can't have Jeb leave anymore. That's pretty good. Also, yeah, I don't know if you guys are wondering what I do for my screenshots or not. For the most part, they're kind of just like I literally am only doing this. I'm not taking a picture or anything. What I'll do is I'll come in post editing and I'll look through and figure out which scene or scenario is the most appropriate. In this case, I actually don't know which one I'll use. And I'll sometimes even take it from this screen. Since I don't know how far the field is going to stretch, I'm going to call it here while it's safe. Come on. Deploy shoots whenever. Here we go. Turn the lights out. Yeah, I do like this as a re-entry capsule though. It would make a really good escape pod. I'm sure that's what a lot of people use it for. I wonder what the interior... Oh. Nice. That's an amazing view you have there. What an... Oh. Kind of like a lander, you can see. Let's see here. What's our altitude? What's our speed? This is actually kind of cool. That's actually kind of cool. Anyway, we have gotten everything back. And this capsule actually makes little sense. How do they even sit in this? How do you even sit? Like that? Really? That is interesting. Let's recover the vessel. Oh my god. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So, we now have 1,594 science from the 12,042.5, not including the transmissions. That's kind of amazing. And as for parts, we got 2,000 back, which is pretty small return. But Jeb is level 2 now, and Bob gained 2 levels in that. How about that? So I'm actually kind of feeling excited. We have all this tech, and I always start the episode with unlocking tech if I have that available. Since I have it available, I'm likely going to do that. On top of that, we don't really have enough money to upgrade the science center, but as soon as I can really afford it, that's what I'm going to do. Because I want stuff that goes beyond scanning tech. I want advanced science tech. So like this. Advanced science tech would get us super far. I'll go through and I'll figure out what I'm going to do. Anyway, we actually got a lot done. We went and got a massive payload and a really complex mission to Minmus. To not only, this is what I've been setting up for, by the way. This is why there's a satellite network, because now we have this probe in orbit and I'm going to be taking it places. Like, its sole purpose is to stay, so I'm not going to be as shy with its fuel reserves. I took a contract to build an orbital station around Kerbin, which, by the way, that is going to be so much more simple than landing a surface outpost, because a surface outpost is going to be a pain, no matter how I slice it. Like, no matter how I do it, there's going to be some issues. And it's going to be very haphazard, at least to start with, until I get an idea. But yeah. So I'm going to be doing a lot of things. Like, I'm going to be rescuing Kerbals, and those are going to be the people who are going to wind up on my station, including Orden. Hopefully I'll have a full suite of talents available. And then I'm going to build the orbital station. I'll probably launch it up in one piece with a with like sort of a ferry craft or something. And I'll devise a way to get fuel up to it. That way I can continually just launch a fuel mission. So yeah, things are going to change rapidly now that I have the tech. See ya next time.